Welcome to the first inaugural episode of Hobby Homies. I'm Michael Fox.
I'm Shane Grossett.
And no one calls me Michael, so don't do that. My name is Fox. You can call me Fox, Shane.
I can call you Fox.
We're friends.
Yes.
These other people listening, we're not friends.
But we will be.
They want me... Okay, yeah.
Eventually. They'll listen to more of our episodes and we'll all be friends.
I would like to think so, but I don't have the kind of personality that people like.
God, no.
Shane shakes his head every time I say something, and he's doing it now. He's absolutely doing it now. No, we're excited to start this podcast because we think in our local area there isn't a lot of coverage on events and things like that, and I think that's what we want to cover.
Absolutely. Yep, definitely. Fox is from Geelong, so he's going to be our Geelong correspondent. Currently, I'm closer to Melbourne, out towards Werribee, so we'll be looking at the Werribee scene, especially Guff there. They do a few tournaments here and there. There's a Legion one coming up. But, so we basically got into the hobby through 40K, as a lot of people do, I suppose, nowadays. But we're going to try and keep this broad, cover things like Age of Sigmar, Legion, and even dabble in other things like Malifaux and D&D, tabletop games, board games, all that sort of stuff.
All the good stuff. We almost exclusively play 40K at this stage.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to say that we're shifting more towards, at this stage, Age of Sigmar and Legion.
Yep.
Both of those systems have just had big booms recently. Legion especially dropping the new set.
Absolutely,
the Clone Wars set.
The droids.
The droids. The little droids. I'm a droid fan. So it means people can now just play more things than just, hey, it's my rebels versus your rebels. It's my Luke Skywalker versus your Luke Skywalker. Or if you want some variety, it's my Luke Skywalker versus your Vader.
Yeah.
So they've released a lot of expansions for the rebels. And now with Clone Wars out, there's 4 armies.
Yeah.
And that's starting to get people hyped.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll branch out into those, but we're also open to anything. Like I went into a store the other day and saw actual well-painted War Machine stuff, which I haven't really seen because it's not in my it's not on my radar.
It's not even big in our area, really.
No.
I know there's a couple of models at Guff. They sell a few models, but I've never seen anyone playing it there.
Yeah, and that's a big thing we're trying to do as well. Is there seems to be in Geelong and Werribee areas little pockets of people.
Yep.
There's a Facebook page for Flames of War. There's a Facebook page for War Machine. A little bit of everything. And we're hoping to sort of, cast an umbrella over everything and create a space where people can come and listen and hear what other people are doing so that they can hear there's a War Machine tournament coming up.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
They can hear there's an Age of Sigmar one. And they can go, oh, I didn't know that was on.
Yep.
Sweet. Because not everyone's privy to all the different Facebook groups that are going on and all the different events. So we're hoping to consolidate all that into this podcast.
That's right. And unless you're specifically looking for those Facebook groups, they can be hard to find. So hopefully, with our podcast and further episodes along, we'll be able to sort of have a Discord channel. People can come in, share their tournaments, their events that are happening in the area.
And we're quite new to the scene. So we'll talk a little bit in a moment about us as individuals, how we got into the hobby and all that kind of stuff. But we're looking to turn it up to 10 in 2020. So although we're not currently in the tournament scene or in any of the systems scenes, we're starting to get connected and we're starting to talk about people who are really embedded in those scenes. And the plan is that we'll attend, between the two of us, almost every tournament we can get our bits on.
Yep.
So you guys as the listeners will journey with us from people turning super casual gamer to semi-casual.
Yeah.
No, smart casual.
Smart casual.
Smart casual.
Right.
That's what he said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slacks and a tie.
Exactly. We're bringing our ties to these things.
Oh, yeah.
So if you see 2 nerds in the corner at a tournament in your local store wearing a tie, that's us. So what we might do is we might introduce ourselves and let you guys know a bit about us. We're not particularly interesting, but what we do in our hobby worlds might mimic that of your hobby world.
That's right. Yeah. So, well, Fox, you can start.
Okay. Buckle up, buckaroos. It's story time. So, I'm going to talk about how I got into the hobby, how long I've been doing it, but I'll also talk about what I'm doing now and my plans for 2020. So, back when I was 14, and for reference, I'm 15 now. That's times 2. So, back when I was 14, I went over to my mate's house. And this is a real story time. So if you're sitting at home, pour yourself a coffee. If you're driving to work in your automobile, don't pour yourself a coffee. It's significantly more difficult.
Grab a beer instead.
Yeah, grab a beer. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's terrible advice. However, if you do pour a coffee in your car, let us know. I'm sure there's a giveaway for that. So, I'm 14. I go over to my mate's house. And what you have to understand about my mate's house is it's the kind of place that when you go into his bedroom, you have to put on a hazmat suit.
Wow.
There are things growing in his room that don't exist anywhere else in the world.
Fascinating.
Yeah. If Scientologists
Close.
got into there, they'd start a new religion.
Wow.
And they'd worship the fungus that's growing in his bedroom.
The almighty fungus.
The almighty fungus. So I go in there, and the first thing I see is this unholy sight. Something I've never seen in my entire life.
Wasn't a crusty sock, was it?
Worse.
Oh, God.
It was my mate and our other mutual friend, sitting on the ground. Now, you got to understand, that's unheard of. You don't do that in this kid's room. You sit on the stack of Domino's pizza boxes. You sit on his crusty bed. You sit on the weird little, it's supposed to be an entertainment unit, but it's like, I don't know, something from Iran in the middle of the desert, caked in dust. You sit on any of those 3 things over sitting on the ground.
Okay.
Sitting on the ground, you catch syphilis.
Yep.
And he doesn't have syphilis. So I go there and I see them sitting on the ground and I'm like, this is bizarre. And then I investigate closer and I see them playing with, what I understood at the time was Terran and Zerglings from StarCraft.
I see.
And I was like, damn, I love StarCraft. And I didn't know they had a minis game. They're like, how dare you? This is called Warhammer. This is not StarCraft. These are Space Marines. And I was like, you could not think of a more generic name for Terran. They're Marines in space.
Yep.
You called them Space Marines. Now, I'm not saying that anyone ripped off anyone.
No, you can't mention that.
No. But I'm not saying that they didn't. Anyways, so I'm watching this game, and as a nerd, this is in, I can't do the maths. I think this is in like 2005. You got to understand that the climate then is different because of climate change. It's, if you're a nerd, you have to keep your hobby in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
You have to keep it in my mate's room.
Yeah.
Because if it goes outside, they throw rocks at you.
Yeah, nerd culture is not what it is nowadays.
No. And never have I felt more old than when you just said that. Back in my day, we used to get rocks thrown at us for playing Warhammer.
We'd walk to school
We'd
in
walk
the
to
snow,
Yeah.
uphill both ways.
No, we've never seen the snow.
No.
It's actually 58 degrees Celsius in this room.
Oh, yeah, I'm sweaty.
We're in the middle of Australia. That's a lie. We're in the bottom tip. It's actually quite cool outside.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're playing this game. And I think I had I think I almost got a bruise on my chin because I was sitting on the edge of his bed, not on the ground. I'm not a sadist. No. And I had my chin on my closed fists. And I'm just watching this game for 3.5 hours. And I loved every minute of it. And I was like, damn, guys, I have to play this game. And I was like, I've known these guys for years, didn't even know they had these models. And they were terribly painted. Like, I'm talking, that arts and crafts paint?
Oh, yeah.
Where arts and crafts is spelt with a Z at the end of arts?
Yeah.
That's the kind of paints they were using.
Wow.
They slapped it in blue, and I think he might have spat some red on a shoulder. And he was like, this is a Space Marine. Not to knock your painting, old friend. We were young and naive, and contrast didn't exist, so not your fault. Shades didn't even exist. So they were playing this game, and I was like, why? Where has this been my whole life? I've known you guys for years. You've never talked about this. What's the go? They're like, oh, there's a tournament coming up. We're practicing for it. I was like, people play this outside of this room? And that's when I got the wave of the Warhammer. The plastic crack. That was my first dose.
Oh, yeah.
And I was hooked.
You'll never forget your first hit.
No. I never. No. I'm 48 now. and degrees. And I've never forgotten that moment of walking into that room and seeing them sitting on the ground and thinking they must want to kill themselves. I understand. But they didn't. They were playing Warhammer.
Yep.
And so we went to this tournament. And there was probably 15... In my head, there was 15 to 20 people, but I was young, so there was probably 6.
Yep.
My mates were 2 of them, and I remember walking up to a table and seeing 2 full painted armies. One was terribly painted because it was my mates, and the other one was the player who was playing against was well painted.
Okay.
Now, I said earlier I walked into Space Marines and Tyranids. That was a lie. I forgot. It was Space Marines and Necrons.
Oh, Necrons.
Yeah. But this guy that he was playing against had Tyranids.
Yep.
And I saw these Zerglings. He had Hormagaunts. He had about 80 of them on the table. And I was blown away. I was like, I want those. So after the tournament, we went to a Games Workshop, which was just 5 minutes down the road from where they were doing it. And I was like, give me that box. Now, the thing I didn't know is when you buy this box, it didn't look like that old mate's models on the table. Didn't look like that at all.
Oh, no.
I opened this box of grey plastic and I thought there'd been a mistake. I was like, I think this came out of the factory early.
Yeah, they forgot to put them together for me.
Yeah. I was like, and a big reason I bought these guys is because I love the aliens. Love playing as the good guys.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want the Marines that came painted like my friends. I didn't realise that he had painted those. And I'm pretty sure I threw shade at them a few times. Not actual shade paint, because that could have benefited them quite significantly. Anyway, so that's what started it all. Bought that box. They explained to me, no, you got to clip them. You got to sprue clean them. Actually, I don't even think they said that.
No.
I think they said
just twist them off the sprue.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
They said,
Don't clip
some people buy clippers, but you can just twist them off. So I was like, yeah, sweet. So you can imagine how they looked. So I twisted them off the sprues, glued them together, painted one, and that was it till about 10 years later.
Yeah.
They stopped playing, and in a turn, I stopped playing. So I can't remember whatever happened to that one painted Tyranid. They took me to the Games Workshop. He helped me pick out the colors because I looked at the codex and I was like, I want to paint that one. It was like blue, white, and had like little black lines on it. It was like an Arctic themed one.
Yep.
So I bought all the paints, painted him. I was like, damn, that looks pretty cool. And yeah, that was it for 10 years. Fast forward to recently, 5 years ago, when I moved up to Queensland.
Yep.
From down here in Geelong, in Victoria, in Australia. So I basically jumped where all the fires are currently happening.
Yeah.
Hopped all those. Went to Queensland with the missus. We just got married. We thought we'll start a new life together. Where else to do it but sunny old Queensland?
Oh, that's it.
So we went up there, somewhere she's always wanted to live. We got there and I was like, I have no friends. Which you'd think I'd be climatized to, but I wasn't. So on my lunch breaks from work, I was working in a retail clothing store pretending to be cool and know what good clothes were. I would walk over to a Games Workshop because that was the only thing that I sort of knew, and started talking to the bloke up there. And that's what begun where I'm currently at now. That's when I start collecting boxes. I think that was just before Harleys came out.
Yeah.
Harlequins from 40k. But just after Adeptus Mechanicus, it was Skitarii and Cult Mechanicus at the time.
Oh, yeah,
there was
I
the
remember
two separate codexes, and everyone was like, this is the stupidest thing ever, because the armies, it's quite clear that they decided to produce one army, and then they split it in two for, can't see it, but I'm doing dollar signs.
Yeah.
Unless you're from Games Workshop and you're listening, in which case I'm not doing dollar signs. I appreciate you making those models.
Yeah.
Loved them. Great system. Good idea. 7th edition. Perfect. That's sarcasm. So I got in there and I saw people painting, and it wasn't like my friend's room in 2005.
It was clean?
It was clean.
Oh.
The people there, they smelt a little bit, but it's the sunny coast. It's hot.
Yeah.
So I started talking to some of them, and they were all just so friendly, so passionate. In fact, funny story, which is not a common theme on this podcast.
No.
I was talking to one of the guys about Adeptus Mechanicus and all the cool models. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready to take the plunge. I'm ready to buy this. So I gave him the box. I was like, I'll take these, mate. After we were talking for about half an hour about, you know, what the army's strengths are, their weaknesses, how new they are, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that a new player needs to know. And he was like, oh, I don't work here. He was like, no, I just came in to paint some of my my Eldar.
Yep.
I was like, oh, well, who works here? He was like, that guy. They pointed to a guy sitting over there painting stuff. I'm like, damn, man, you're friendly. I feel like you should get some commission from this sale. And so anyway, I started with Adeptus Mechanicus, painted those for a little bit, loved them. Loved that whole, what do you call that? Forgotten what it's called. I want to say Daft Punk.
Daft Punk? Steampunk?
Steampunk. Thank you. That steampunk look. So got into those big, sort of did what I do with every army. I buy some models, about 500 points worth, build them all. They all look cool. They take up half a table. I'm like, now I just got to paint them. Start painting them. Get exhausted.
How many do you paint?
2, maybe 3. A test model sometimes.
Yeah.
I paint a test model and I go, well, at the time I didn't say Shane, but nowadays I'm like, Shane, does this look cool? You're like, man, that looks sick. I'm like, all right, awesome.
Yep.
A week later you'll see me and you'll be like, hey, how'd that unit go? I was like, yeah, good. I've got Space Wolves now. So that's a reoccurring theme in my life.
Classic, yep.
Buy half an army, paint a few, do a few test models, love them. But I get so enveloped in them.
Yep.
That I read all their lore, look at competitive lists, think of what 2,000 point army I'm going to make, and after a week I'm burnt out.
Yep.
And the allure of those Lehman Russ tanks,
Oh, yeah.
or the Tyranid Warriors,
Shiny new army.
The plastic rack, man.
Yeah, that's it.
It starts to get to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll come back to these guys. But for now, I'm just going to grab this box of Hormagaunts. Or I'm going to grab these Gene Stealer Cults, or whatever it is. And I'll do the same thing. Buy about 500 points, plan out my army, get enveloped, paint a test model.
Yep.
Shiny new army.
Yep.
Do that about 3 or 4 times. And then go, I can't really afford to buy another army. You know what? I'll sell the first one. And I got on this cycle, man. The hobby cycle.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure everyone listening to it has experienced it in some degree. So currently, I have Space Wolves from 40k, Tyranids.
Space Foxes.
Space Foxes, sorry. They're Space Wolves that I'm painting in a fox theme. I don't know if you caught my name earlier. It's Michael. It's Fox. And so I'm keeping with that theme.
Yeah.
I've got some Fenrisian wolves and I'm painting them. Or I've painted them. I've finished them.
Which look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. You're too kind. It was all contrast. Bless the contrast gods. I'm sorry that we had to sacrifice Duncan for you.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Whoa!
Just kidding.
If you want to tune out right now, I understand. But we're a little bit different here at Hobby Homies. We believe in one thick coat.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time. We want to get in those tournaments.
No.
So, yeah, I've got Space Foxes, which I have actually painted a few models. Uncommon for me. I've got a big Tyranid army that's a massive project. It's secondhand models that I've got to, strip the paint and do all that kind of stuff. But I've started. I've stripped all the warriors. There's about 25 of them. They're all completely stripped.
Nice.
So that's good. I'm excited about that. But I've also got Kroot, and I will always have Kroot, but I'll wait. Because until we get a HQ and a proper codex, they're sitting on the bench. Because I don't really love Tau. I like Tau, but I don't love Tau. I don't want to have a Kroot Tau hybrid army.
I'm surprised, on that note, that the Kroot Explorer from Blackstone Fortress wasn't made a HQ. I think he's an elite.
Yeah.
Like a character, but he would have been perfect for a HQ.
Yeah, I think so. I'm very surprised that, this is a side note, but I'm surprised that Games Workshop didn't see an opportunity to... So what they did a while back is they made a few armies a bit more independent. So Harlequins, for example, they made the Troop Masters HQs.
Yeah.
They took them out of the unit.
Yeah.
And as opposed to being unit leaders, they made them HQs.
Yeah.
They took out... What's the Militarum Tempestus Scions.
Oh, the Scions, yeah.
Yeah. So they took out the unit leader from that and made him a HQ.
Rather than needing a commissar or something
Correct.
like that for him. Yeah.
So and I thought that was the time that they were going to take out the Kroot Shaper as an elite
Oh, yeah, the Shaper, yep.
and make him a HQ.
Yep.
Because then people can field... They're not good. They can field these all-Kroot mercenary armies and have it tournament legal.
Yeah.
That's what people want to do. They
Yeah.
want to paint up something that they know, even if they don't participate in tournaments, they know they can.
That's right.
They can build up to it if they want to. So, and they would sell more Kroot models. Instead of selling them every now and then for the Tau player that wants something for screening,
Yeah.
they would sell more Kroot.
Yeah.
No one's going to buy a Krootox unless you're a Krootox rider, unless you've got an all-Kroot army.
Yeah.
So anyways, I got sidetracked with Kroot. Don't bring up Kroot unless you want this to go for 3 hours.
It's a sensitive topic.
It's a whole separate episode.
Oh, yeah.
That's a solo episode. I'll just stand here, sit
Yeah.
here.
I'll just get Jack to put my mic on mute and let Foxy go about.
Do it. Give me 2 mics. I'll talk about Kroot twice. I'll have a back and forth with myself about Kroot. In fact, Shane, turn your mic around.
Okay.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to talk about Kroot right now. I've had too many beers for that. So, yes, I've got Space Foxes, Tyranids, Kroot. That's my 40k, and that's all I'm allowed for 2020. I'm not allowed to buy any new factions. That's a rule I'm setting myself. You guys, the listeners, Shane, Jack the sound guy, you guys have to keep me accountable. If
Yep.
I come in here and start talking about any other army, punch me in the dick.
Okay.
That's my weakness.
And that's recorded
Oh,
forever?
oh my
Yep.
goodness. I was unaware. I didn't think we were going live yet. So now the condition is if I ever paint 1,500 points, tabletop, based and everything, of any of those pre-existing armies, it's not going to be Kroot, so any of the other 2, then I'm allowed to start a new.
I think by the time you've done 1,500 points,
It'll be 2023.
it'll be well earned.
Yeah, I think
That
so.
new army will be well earned.
I think
You would have
so.
powered through it. Absolutely.
You're getting me pumped just to go home and paint my new army. No. My something. My Space Foxes. Now for Age of Sigma, I have Skaven. And again, I have to be very strict with myself in 2020, Shane.
Yep.
Because you know what I'm like.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm like.
Oh, yeah.
I'll send you a picture of a painted something from my current army. 2 minutes later, I'm sending you a screenshot of my cart
Yeah.
on the Games Workshop website or Garf or Mighty Ape.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. If I can't afford it at the time, you best believe I'm finding a burrow that has Afterpay or Zip Pay, and I'm sending you a thing saying, "Hey Shane, what do you think of 9 Lehman Russes?" And you're a good supportive friend. You're like, "Hey, yeah, man, that'd be good." But deep down, you're thinking, "This he's done.
Oh, yeah.
He needs rehab."
Yep.
So 2020 is my rehab year. My only Age of Sigma army will be Skaven until I have 1,500 points painted Skaven.
Yep.
We've just started getting into Legion, both of us. So I've got, I did it. I did the thing that I always do. So I have Rebels already.
Yeah, we actually went Harvey's in the first edition box.
Yeah, we did.
And I
yeah.
took the good guys and you took the bad guys.
I did. I took the Rebels,
Yeah.
the bad Rebels, and
I
I took
took
the
the-
well-organized, peacekeeping Imperial,
That's exactly right.
the Empire.
Yeah.
And we played it a couple times, not once. I think we played it once.
I think we did once. Maybe
And-
half a game.
Yeah, and we thought, this is good.
Yeah.
But I think we both went, we've got so much other hobby.
Yeah.
No one else right now that we know is playing this.
No.
It's just the 2 armies. We put it on the back burner.
Yep.
Now, the scene's picking up because of, like I mentioned earlier, the new things that have come out.
Yep.
So that's where we're at with that. We're starting to turn the Legion dial up as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Cooking with
currently,
gas.
because I love droids, I have the new core set, the new box set, Clone Wars, both sides. Don't know if I'll keep the clones. I probably will. I shouldn't.
No,
I
you
probably-
should sell them.
I should sell them.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy them?
No.
Okay. So I'm keeping the clones. So I've got clones, droids, rebels, and I'll bring that back down to rebels and droids.
Yep.
Separatists, I should say, because Grievous is my favorite character in Star Wars. Something so cool about him. His backstory. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing.
That's another episode.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. 2020 is me building towards tournaments. I'm gonna try and go to every single tournament between here and Werribee at least. The big ones like CanCon, There's another one called the Summer Smash, which is a 2K Age of Sigma. I won't have the points for that, but I'm certainly going.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to every single one.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to the players there, get in the scene. So that's what my 2020 looks like. So we'll see what happens. All I know is I've got a baby coming in 2020 as well. Wife's preggers.
Yes.
Don't know if I told you that. Nah, that's it.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. So that will tie up most of my funds.
Yes.
Which is a big reason I have to stick with what I've got. I also bought a puppy. They're not expensive, but they're loud. So therefore I get less sleep. So therefore I go to work less.
Yes.
So therefore I earn less. If my boss ever listens to this, I wasn't there because I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I was tired from the puppy. So yeah, that's me. I have been casual gamer until now, but with a few of my other hobbies dying down, I'm playing computer games less and less interested in that. I'm very keen to turn it up. But I also don't know heaps, you know? I'm pretty new to the scene. I don't know, like, there are people within the Geelong and Werribee scene that can name every player that goes to a tournament. So they're like, oh, you know, Dutchy and Baldy will be there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, I don't even know your name.
Yeah.
So they would be much more, but they're the people we're going to get beside and learn from
Yeah.
so that we can give an accurate depiction of the current scene and climate happening between Geelong and Werribee. We'll talk about broad stuff too, for God forbid anyone tunes in internationally. If you guys ever listen to this, I'm sorry for us. I'm sorry for ScoMo. No, we're okay. We're all right.
Yeah.
We're on fire,
Yes.
but we're okay.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that aren't, and our thoughts and prayers go to them.
Yes.
Go to Hawaii. What do you reckon?
Hawaii,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd go there. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
The
free.
country was on fire.
Well, you're not going to stay in the country. Oh, yeah. It's on fire. You're a madman. No. When we talk about politics as well, understand that, A, we know nothing.
No.
Whereas I didn't even know ScoMo was our Prime Minister until people were like, can you believe he went over to Hawaii? I was like, oh, why does that matter? Why do I care? They're like, he's our Prime Minister. I was like, it's truth. I thought that was Barnaby Joyce. That's a person, yeah?
That's okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
I knew that name because his name sounds like Barnacle. And
Okay.
that entertains me significantly. So, yeah, understand A, we don't know anything about politics. And B, we don't care.
No.
We don't also have an opinion. I actually don't know your political stance on anything, Shane. You don't know mine. 'cause
No,
I actually
no.
don't have one.
No.
So I'm sorry if you're one of those people that are like, you have to vote, otherwise the country will go to ashes. Well, then I'll be cooked
Yeah.
because I got no idea what's going on. And we just make jokes.
Yes.
We don't have political opinions. We have jokes.
Yep.
So anyway, that's a preface for the many incoherent and insensitive future jokes I will make about people going overseas.
Yes.
But if you are international, we will talk about broad stuff. We've got an episode coming up where we'll talk about 40K lists. All of the lists internationally from ITC events. And we'll break those down and see what they look like in different areas and see what people are bringing to the competitive scene. We have stuff like that. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff. Tune out if you like when we talk about Geelong and Werribee because you'll be like, those sound like made up places.
Yes.
But that's me, Shane.
Yep.
That's me in a nutshell. Pretty amateur,
Summed up quite well.
looking to turn it up a little bit in 2020.
Yeah. Beauty. Well, my my way back machine doesn't go as far back as Fox's does. Mine only goes back about 4 years, I think, we're up to now.
It went quick.
It did. It's gone crazy quick. So basically, as Fox forgot to mention in his story, he went to Queensland and he came back.
I did come back.
He came
I'm
back.
here now.
He's here now, in the flesh. So it all started with one evening. We had a group chat going on the old Viber back then.
Oof.
We were using Viber, yeah.
Yeah.
And randomly, out of the blue, I get a ping from the group chat. And generally the group chat blows up, so it doesn't always get as much attention. But I looked at it, and it was Fox saying, "Who wants to start playing this game with me?" And I was immediately hooked. I'd heard of it. I thought I'd had friends who'd played it, but it wasn't the case. But it may have been mentioned at school or something in the time. And yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll play. Like I was looking for something at the time. Video games were sort of tapering off, and I needed something to do with my free time. And
When you replied and said, "Yeah, I'm keen," my hobby boner. Oh my goodness, you could lift the car with that thing. It was like a jack.
rock hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we jumped on Discord. I think it might have been that night or maybe the next day.
Yeah.
And I think we chatted for like an hour or maybe 45 minutes, and you were just telling me the rules.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is all interesting. I've got no idea what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm loving hearing it, right?
Yeah.
I'm loving hearing the movement phase and the shooting phase and rolling to hit and to wound and all that sort of shit. And it was 7th edition at the time. I don't know how far along 7th edition was, maybe like a year or two.
Yeah.
And so we basically, because Fox was coming back down, up north where he was, had a killer of a deal. It was he basically said, go on the Games Workshop website, have a look at the armies, see what you like. And I was tossing out between two. I was tossing out between Necrons, something about robots, just
Space
tickled
robots,
my fancy,
man.
space
Yeah.
robots, yeah. And then it was, I think the Skitarii at the time. Again, I don't know if it was like the Daft Punk, steampunk vibe, or whatnot.
Is that them? God, I hope that's them. We're gonna celebrate. We can make that sound good in post, can't we, Jack?
Yeah.
Make me sound like them.
Totally do that.
So anyway, they had a battle box at the time which had like, each box had like 20 warriors, a ghost arc, and like a 5-man squad of immortals, which could be built as death marks for $180, which is a pretty good deal at the time. Well, now I think about it, and the deal was 2 boxes for $180.
It was 1 box for 180.
Yeah,
Or 2 boxes for 280. No, wait, sorry, for 180.
for 180.
Yeah, it was like those deals where you go to like BP and it's
Yeah.
like, hey, this 180 drink, $4.95,
Yeah.
but you can get 2 for $5.
yeah.
But it was better than that because
Oh,
it was
yeah.
170.
Yeah. So straight away, I was like setting the money up, and Michael packed it into his car. I think he even said he had to leave the microwave up there because it wouldn't fit or something. I don't know.
I did. You got to understand, that was very difficult to convince the wife. So we're packing our car, and this is all of our possessions that we own,
Everything.
and it's going in one car back with us. So imagine 2 people take up the front seats, and then everything else you own in a small Commodore.
Oh yeah, I remember the white Commodore.
Oh, the white Commodore. So man, it was a nightmare.
Yep.
Just packing the things in there. Like we left so much stuff, but can you imagine? We've already cut out so many of the things we deemed valuable. There was like just tons of stuff, and we were like, no, we're gonna start a new life, start afresh. We'll take our clothes if they're worth it, and we'll take the bare essentials. You know, I had a computer as well. So if you've ever packed up a computer for a LAN or anything and thrown it in the back seat, that's taken up a lot of space.
It takes up a whole like seat, like
Yeah.
where a person would sit.
Yep. And so the 2 battle boxes in question were about the size of the microwave because they were thick boys.
Yeah.
They had a lot of sprue in there, a lot of rules.
Oh yeah.
Bit of terrain? No, like scarabs and stuff, bases,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And there was 2 of them.
Yeah.
And so I had these boxes and I was like, look, Smoochy, wifey, darling,
Love of my life.
moon of my sun, sun of my moon, stars to my galaxy. I actually really need to bring these 2 boxes. And she's like, can't you like take the stuff out? Because I explained that there's sprues and stuff in there that I need to bring down for my mate Shane. These aren't ours.
Yeah.
She's like, can't you post it? I was like, actually posting these is more expensive than our microwave. So we're best off just buying a new microwave, and then everyone wins. And she was not sold at all. And anyway, so we crammed them in there, Shane.
Oh yeah.
They were in some orifices that they should not have been in. But yeah, it was my pleasure to bring those down. They were the first things I packed in there after the computer.
Yep.
Because it was more for me than it was for you. Because
Yeah.
now I have a hobby home.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise, if I'm just doing it on my own, it's going to be like 2005 where I paint a dude and never touch him for 10 years.
Yep.
So you're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So once Fox got back, he came over. May have even been that very same day that he got back.
Oh, it was.
And dropped off these ginormous boxes of spaced robots. And I'm just like looking at them. I'm like looking at one. I'm like, holy shit. And then I glance over and there's another one. And I was just overwhelmed, but loving it. So I sat down at the old dining table and just began clipping them out, gluing them together. And if you've ever assembled Necrons, you'll know that the heads are horrible because they put the sprue lines
on
right
the cheeks.
on the cheeks.
I remember this was a big thing with you.
Yeah.
You might have talked about it for 2 years.
Maybe.
Non-stop.
At least.
He would meet random people in the street and be like, they'd be like, oh, it's pretty hot today. And you'd be like, yeah, it is. It's hot. And that's annoying. But have you ever assembled Necrons from Warhammer 40k? They got sprue on their cheeks.
I scared off a lot of people with that comment. But yeah, so slapped those together quite poorly, primed them up with the can of lead belcher, and called them done.
Done, man.
And we played our first game, which was, I think, Harleys.
Yes.
I think you had your Harleys at the time.
At that time, I did have Harleys. Ashamed to say, that was about my 4th army.
On the dining room table, we used things like, I had some rocks out of like an old fish tank as like mountains and books.
Aquarium goods.
Yeah, we just used all this random stuff which worked for terrain and worked quite well.
Poor hammer.
Poor hammer.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yep. That was our first at least 12 months.
Yeah.
Of that, and then we
the first. Sorry to cut you off. The first 12 months, I think, was us just trying to learn 7th edition.
Yeah.
As new to the, the most complicated game we'd played was Munchkin, probably.
Yeah.
Which is a card game for anyone who doesn't know. So it was like I'd never learned really the rules or anything. I remember on the way back to Queensland, I'm sitting there doing driving shifts with the wife, and every time she was driving, I'm popping open this massive book just trying to figure out. I think did 7th have like going to ground and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, and it had like it had like armor, like vehicles had front and side and rear armor.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. It was a headache for new players. So
yeah. It wasn't as like if you're playing now as 8th as your first edition, you've got it lucky. Yeah. It was really like in every single turn, you go to your codex, you go to the rule book, you're bouncing between the two books, and the first turn like between both of you would take like 2 hours.
I think we played the most complete game of 40k, and by complete I mean like when you finish a game and you're like, yeah, I think we got most of the rules. I felt like I did all my rules, got all my rerolls, did all my auras properly, all that kind of stuff. I think we played our most complete game in our 3rd game of 8th edition.
Yeah.
And we had played probably, I'd say 6 or 7 7th edition games.
Oh,
and
at
never
least,
gone
yeah.
close. So,
No.
I mean, maybe we're simpletons. I know there's a lot of people that prefer 7th, and that's the good thing about 40k is you can just whip out the 7th edition rulebook and say, hey,
it still works.
we're playing that.
Yeah.
And if you want like a more detailed and authentic kind of... I don't know about authentic, I suppose, because something weird about blast markers and the ability for them to scatter back to you when you're like a well-trained space marine.
Dude,
why you're throwing a grenade on yourself.
It's throwing the grenade into the wind, man. It's just...
It's very... Don't throw it then. If it's so windy and the wind's coming back to you, don't throw it.
Yeah. There are a few things I miss about 7th edition, like deep striking could be random, like you could scatter into a building or something like that.
Yeah.
And vehicles would become immobilized if you drove through a ruin or something like that. You'd roll the dice. Little things like that, which are good, but whole 8th is so easy. It's so smooth. You're still bouncing off your codex from time to time or your rule book, whatever, but nothing quite like how 7th was.
Yeah.
And after our first few games of that, I was just trying to think now how I got into it, but I picked up I think it was a start collecting it was a troop box of Blood Angels, and it came with a Rhino and 10 tactical Marines.
Yeah.
It was like $90 or something like that. So I thought, why not?
It was like one of those little things where they used to have those.
Yeah.
Now they've mostly just got start collecting. But yeah, they were like little weird combinations of things.
Yeah.
And they usually weren't actually like much cheaper than buying the separate things.
No, it wasn't much. I think it was actually about $30 cheaper or something like that. Yeah, it wasn't too bad at the time. And so I was like, yes, sweet, Blood Angels. I don't know how I got into... I wanted Space Marines at the start, but like I don't know how I picked Blood Angels over the rest of the different chapters. It just was. And then, so I started with Blood Angels, and now I've got a few Blood Angels. Sold off some of them. And
it's probably it's your most painted army?
I think so, yeah. Most to a point where I'm happy with.
Yeah.
I think as if you count like Necrons, because I've got like 20-something warriors painted and all that, there's probably more finished Necrons, but they're not to a point where I'm as happy with as the Blood Angels.
They're just lead belcher.
Yeah, they're pretty much just lead belcher and like green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the green, they come with the green.
It's thick.
Oh, yeah.
No,
right.
painted like
yeah.
their shoulders
Man,
and
we
that.
were terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, At the start with, I never thin my paints. I just paint out of the pot. I'm like,
Oh.
why would you use a palette and thin your paints when you just paint out of the pot?
Oh.
Now I look back and I go, oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
But then I moved on to palette and that stepped up, and then you move on to wet palette and then you get even better. And
Yeah.
the old progression.
The shoulder pads look like a cheap cake that you now made, slapped on the icing sugar, like 2 foot tall.
Yeah, classic that. But so then after that 40k incident, started getting into Age of Sigmar. When we got into Warhammer, Age of Sigmar had just dropped, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we never saw 8th edition of the fantasy battles. Kind of glad that I stepped into where it is now rather than stepping in early for that transition.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know a lot of people lost their mojo for it because of the first
change.
Yeah, and I think they dropped it quite poorly.
Yeah.
I'd heard. But anyway, now that Age of Sigmar 2.0 is out and all that sort of stuff, it's picking up pace, especially in our local area.
Yeah.
A lot of
definitely.
our local stores play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I personally, as far as the hobby goes, I think basing and terrain is my forte. That's where I get the most fun out of making these little scenes. Like you can paint the miniature, but just putting it on sand and sticking a tuft of grass there isn't enough for me. I like to sort of create like a little scene.
Yeah.
Like what this particular marine was doing, and
You haven't done one, but you're a diorama guy.
I've done one diorama I made for my dad as like just a present with a Sherman tank.
Yeah.
On the side of a hill with some trees. It looked crap, but I'd like to make another one now. Like
I don't remember it, but I'm sure it looked better
probably
than you
see-
recall it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's about it. Again, super casual. Never gotten really serious into a tournament. I'd like to play a proper ITC or something like that.
Yeah.
One day.
We did do a doubles tournament once.
We did.
We'll talk about that on the next episode.
Okay, good. We're not going to bring that up now.
No. It was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of fond?
Denoff. Yeah.
Many Denoff memories.
Yes. Yeah. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're quite rough. We're quite rough and raw.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah.
Looking to get a little bit more professional is not the right word for 2020. But it's going to be a focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
A big focus.
And like, we're just two ordinary guys. Like, we both work.
Got full-time jobs.
Yeah, Fox has got a kid on the way. I haven't, luckily.
How dare you?
No.
You have a rabbit?
I got a rabbit, yeah. I got a rabbit.
And you got a
Takes lot of
missus.
time. Got a missus, yeah.
So those are 2 full-time jobs already.
Yeah. She's probably not listening right now.
No.
But yeah, like, we try to devote as much time as we can to 40k, playing games, even just painting.
Yeah.
We'll do paint sessions, and hopefully that's what this podcast can be like. Like I've been lucky on annual leave for the last week, and I've just been spending heaps of time at home painting models, trying to catch up on my backlog.
Yeah.
We want to be that podcast where you can chuck on while you're painting at home by yourself.
Yeah.
And have a beer or whatever. It's just like chatting with your mates,
Yeah. And we actually want to create a space, whether that be I think we'll do a Discord. We'll also drop our email at some stage.
Yeah.
And we'll create a space where you guys can put up what you're working on.
Yep.
We'll have a part of not every episode, but maybe every other episode.
Yeah.
A part of that will be catching up with you guys and seeing, you might post in our Discord in 1 week, say, hey, I'm working on this. And by the next time you guys do a podcast, I'm hoping to have them fully based tabletop.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, I hope to detail them. And we'll check in on those posts and see how you guys are tracking, as well as posting our own stuff.
Yeah, we'll keep you in line. We'll keep you in check.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
And eventually, we've got a few things planned for the later episodes, episodes 4 onwards. where we'll have some giveaways for people that achieve some good results.
Yeah.
And good results aren't always like painting a golden demon miniature.
No,
Because we are not
No.
good painters.
No way.
But it might be even something like, hey, I haven't managed to do a unit of anything for the entire year last year. I've been so busy. But this year, I've got this 5-man unit of racks,
Yep.
Drakari racks.
Yep.
And I'm hoping by the start of next month, they're completely finished.
Yeah.
And it'll be random. We'll look through these posts in the Discord when we launch that.
Yep.
And we'll sort of pick you guys out at random and go, hey, we'll obviously have some requirements like posting your initial thing with a newspaper of that day or something.
Yeah,
so you're
yeah.
not just doing like before and afters from 2017. But yeah, there'll be some giveaways that will eventually ramp up to being weekly.
Yep.
We've actually got a few in the line currently, but we'll talk about those next episode.
Yeah.
But that's sort of what we want to do. We want to create a space where you can just chuck this on and listen to these two, I don't want to use any derogatory words, these two Muppets
Muppets, yep. Two
talk
characters.
about 40K, Age of Sigma. Eventually, we're getting into other systems now,
Yeah.
but we're also getting alongside people that know other systems very well. So we'll have, I think the format of this podcast will be every other week we'll have an episode where we talk about current events, reflect on events that have just been, forecast to events that are happening soon. We'll talk about where we're at with our hobby, how my Space Foxes are going, how your Blood Angels are going.
Yep.
We won't be talking about new armies that we buy
No,
because we won't have done that.
we will not.
And we'll check the Discord and have a look at what's going on in there and see where you guys are up to. And then bi-weekly, in every other episode, we'll usually do like a deep dive.
Yeah.
So we'll pick a topic, which might be, like I said, in a few episodes, it'll be 40K ITC competitive lists, breaking those down, seeing what's in them, seeing what gets played a lot, what gets played not at all, why not. It might be Shane's big book of basing.
Yeah,
Where-
that's something I'd like to talk to you guys about. Like, it might be something that you guys haven't stepped into, the basing or different painting techniques, things like that. Like Fox said, we're both nowhere near Golden Demon painters.
No.
We can both put paint on a model and have it come out pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And
It's tabletop.
tabletop, that's
Yeah.
it. And we'll talk to you guys about that and new techniques that you guys might not be comfortable with trying, and wet palettes and all that sort of stuff. And
What we've tried. We sort of want to be a place that it doesn't matter if you're just getting into the hobby or if you've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
There's something in here for you. However, we don't know what we don't know.
No.
So if you listen to a podcast where maybe we talk about 40K ITC tournament lists, and we miss something that you wanted to hear more about, or we brush over something, hit us up.
yeah,
Again, next episode episode 3, we will let you know about our Discord, our email, and things like that.
yeah, Facebook. We'll have
All
a
that kind of
Facebook
stuff.
group going.
And that'll be an area where you guys can say, hey, you said, for example, that every Astra Militarum list, when they bring elites, bring Bullgrins. Why?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And so we'll flag that,
Yeah.
and we'll research that, and
We
we'll
can
talk to guys
elaborate
in our
on those
community
things.
and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
So we want to make this a podcast for the people. This isn't about, we've got our own plans and visions and stuff we want to talk about,
Yeah.
but we're far less interested in that and more interested in delivering stuff that you guys want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds pretty good, man. I think we'll
Yeah, we
we'll
should.
wrap it up.
Yeah, that's the intro.
Yeah,
That's us. That's me and Shane. You know a little bit about us and our history, I suppose,
yeah,
and what we plan to do this year. But stay tuned because next episode we're going to talk about. We just went to a tournament, probably the first one we've been to in a while,
yeah.
and we fucking loved it.
Oh, yeah. It was just a great atmosphere. It was
We
very
frothed
casual.
it, yeah.
Very casual. It wasn't the three color minimum like most tournaments expect.
No.
It was just some blokes came together,
Yeah.
threw some models on the tables,
Yep.
and threw dice at each other pretty much. So
So we'll talk about our experience there, the
Yep.
people that we talked to, what lists they brought,
Yep.
cool things that we saw there, conversations we had. We'll also talk about the events that are coming up
yep,
in the next couple of weeks. Every event that we are aware of, which is, man, I'm so pumped because there's so much happening. Outside of like CanCon, the big thing, which we'll talk more about, so if you don't know CanCon, tune in.
Yep.
There's so many little things happening in all these little pockets. So we'll let you guys know about those. And hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, that'd be grass.
That'd be sick. We'll be at every single one.
Yep.
Either me or Shane. Maybe both of us. Maybe on each other's shoulders
Maybe.
to meet the height requirement for a lot of these ITC events. 3 color minimum, 5 rounds, 1,500 points, 6'8" only. Must have road at What's the college? Yale.
You lost me. Yale.
Yale.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's it for episode 1.
Sounds good, man.
We're happy to have informally met you people. Now we say you people because we're not political.
No.
You might, in fact, even saying people might be.
Be careful, dude. That's
Sorry.
thin ice.
You species.
Can't say that.
Oh, sorry. Thanks for tuning in. Love having you.
See you next time.
Peace.